what do we do then if we had a bumpy onboarding? What's the strategy? How do we turn things?
I think just confronting it head on, being transparent about maybe why it was a bumpy onboarding. Could have been our fault, could have been a little bit on the customer. Maybe they weren't as reachable or accessible as they said they would, or didn't understand the time that's required to onboard. Or maybe there's some other, factor contributing to it. But I think really just calling it out and understanding, what do we need to do to improve this? You all just spent oftentimes a significant amount of budget on a product. We obviously want to make sure that it works for you really well, and that, it's not a waste of money, outside of obviously us having our own incentives to make sure that it's a good experience, and getting feedback. Right. That's first and foremost. I'm a very big believer that you should always be collecting feedback 30, 60, and 90 days after a customer has been onboarded. So you should know pretty early on if it's been going well, outside of just product adoption, if that's a key metric for the product that, you're selling and the customer should be adopting. So if you need to start over kind of in some ways doing that. I do also find that there's usually a correlation between a rocky onboarding and a change in customers' goals and focus areas. So usually it's not very common that an onboarding goes poorly because of no reason other than like a lack of responsiveness. It's usually because someone was really busy, some change happened, and they had to focus on more important or pressing items. And maybe that does impact the journey that they're going to then have with you and and that product. So uncovering that and reframing the story if we need to, engaging with other teams if we need to. And, like I said, kind of starting over if that's the scenario when it's really early on.